welcome back, and thank you again to all of my Patreon supporters. This video is for you. Today we're going to look at a very simple way that you can do a table centre for. This one obviously is designed around Christmas, but you could do it for birthdays or other celebrations, not using the traditional Christmas colours, but certainly using the baubles. So let me show you first of all how I've made this base. This is a plastic painted plate from Kmart, so easily accessible. And these are the baubles. They've been hot glued on. You'll see, you'll see that some of them I've left the top of the bauble on, and some I've taken the clips out. And the reason we take the clips out is because these are made with ping pong balls or plastic, so you can fill them with water, so they become a water source for your table decoration. Just done in a random selection. Give it a little bit of height, mix up the colours, and know where those water source ones are. I have got a few extras that I haven't glued on. I am going to, for this design, leave them separate, but you could obviously glue them into position and build up your design a little bit more that way. Other thing to do too is not have all of the clips facing upwards. Mix them up as though they've just been tumbled into the plate, and it gives you a little bit more leeway with the angles of the plant material that you're using. But for these, I'm going to leave these ones separate because I want to add them in after I've put in the plant material. So today, even though it's raining here, because it's summer here in Australia, I'm actually going to use agapanthus. And I've chosen them because they give me a good coverage. Simple flower. What you need to remember with a table centre is that people are going to be sitting at the table. They'll want to talk through it, around it, so don't make it sort of the height that you might normally make it for a competition. So say it was a competition, we'd need to go 1.5 times the width of this is our container. So one in the height, 1.5 times, so we're going there and a little bit again. Might be okay if you were going to have it sparse around here, but if you're going to have it like this, how can you talk to the person that's the other side of the table? So we want to make it a little bit lower, still give an indication that there's height going to come into the design, but not the traditional competition sorts of levels. Just make it so that it looks neat and comfortable to your eye, but don't worry too much about the dimensions. We'll still have it as probably a triangle shape, the external side of it when it's done, so that is pleasing to our eyes, but we're not going to be constrained by competition rules for this particular design. There are others in the Patreon series where we're going to be very specific about competition designs, but for this one, let's just have a little bit of fun for a table centre. Agapanthus. Not too worried about, I've got some areas that are where the flowers have already come off, where they've died away, some that are still in bud. What I will take off is any that are tired or spent because we've had a little bit of, and that's just a matter of pulling them off. Sometimes you can pull them off and still leave the seed head there, as I have done with that one there, but other times just pull the whole one off. They come off nice and easy. So what we're going to do first of all is look for something, we want something, we're not going to go for the height, as I said before. We want to do something that's going to soften the impact of this shiny plant material. So we want something that's going to fit lower down. And you'll see that with the baubles I've got two different sizes of openings. So we're going to try and keep the agapanthus in the bigger one so that I don't have to trim it down too much. I will have to trim down the stem a little bit, but not too much. So let's just go initially for this one. And what we want to do is not have it come up too high, but have it drape down so that the flower has the opportunity to drape down the sides and cover a little bit of that base area there. So we'll new knife, so I'm being extra careful. It's very sharp. Now that is actually going to fit into that opening without me having to trim it. I will trim it a little bit more because I'd like it to be sitting on top of the lip. So, and that one fits directly in. So there we have our first placement, and you'll see that it fills up that area. If you wanted to, you could actually leave it like that. You could tuck in these other ones around it and just have the single flower. Or we could, into the smaller ones, we could add a little bit of greenery. Now, Christmas time, I'm looking at my selections down here. Christmas time, of course, we think of conifers as being the typical greenery that we associate with Christmas. So let's just trim a little. It's a little bit longer, we don't want it. There, fold it up, and we'll trim off the end of that one. That won't quite as long. It's not going to go into that one easily, so we'll put it into the next one that I have there. Just folding it in half. So we'll thread it through, put it into the hole. I'm not entirely happy with that placement. Because it's got a tendency to fall to one side because of the stem is too small for the hole that's there. What I'm going to do is add some more of the conifer to fill in the hole and that little gap in there as well. So what we've got. This one. Trim off a little bit. Try that first. We'll get faster with this knife. I am very concerned about how sharp it is. So we'll take out the eggplant. We'll put the two of them in together, which will wedge them in. As you can hear, that's is forcing it down a fair bit. Move out. Not happy with that arrangement. They're not happy with that placement on it. But mind the foliage being in. Let's see if we just do the foliage and work it around the stuff that the pieces we've got already in. So I'm back, bandaged up, ready to rock and roll. So this is where we stand with the design at the moment. Interesting on either side, but we've still got a couple of little holes that we can fill out. So what I've done is use the head of the eggplant that is already pretty much finished its flowering. So taken off all of the flower head and just cut it nice and short so that it fits into the holes that are there. And we're going to put that one so it just gives us a little bit of repetition of the form but a different look to it. And now we've got this one, which I've actually cut into the shape of a tree, and that one's going to sit in the little one underneath. We might spin them around. You can see them a little bit more easily. And so what it does for people that are looking at it from this angle, it gives them something hidden inside the design that they have to look through the design to see. So this side's looking pretty good. The other side, if you're on the other side of the table, it's interesting, but it looks like there's something missing. Very simply, again with the flower heads, cut the stem all the way off and then just place it somewhere where it's interesting. Push it back into the design so that it feels like it's part of the design. And as you can see, this one's been cut for a few days, so it's losing a little bit of its green. What you could do is spray it with some spray paint so to match the colours that you've got there, or the glitter paint. And there we have our nice simple table centre. This one obviously designed a little bit more around Christmas. Easy for people to talk over, still has a nice shape to it, a triangular shape to it. Food around it, it's not going to detract from the food too much, but it is an interesting, subtle celebration. So give it a try. Very interesting and easy to make that structure, and so much you can play around with it. Thanks again for being a Patreon subscriber, and I'll see you in the next video.